space. It's a vacuum of loneliness. Except aliens made out of radio waves. Which, of course, means us humans had to go and try and become friends with them. With the recent discovery of aliens, even though Duo appeared 200 years ago, but hey, whatever. Humans extend an arm to those beings to set forth the events that would bring us the latest edition of the Blue Bombers. Today we'll look at the Droopy Downer turned hero, Mega Man Starforce Edition. I don't really know what to call him. We got Mega Man. You can just call him Mega Man Starforce like an X-Dive. Or Geo and Omega-xis. There's too many options here. At least with the other Blue Bombers I have a distinguishing name. Anywho, on to what you came here for. The basics on Mega Man. Hot off the heels of Battle Network, the Starforce series used a similar dynamic for our hero, a duo. Young 5th grader Geo Stellar, also known as Subaru in Japan, and his partner Omega-xis, also known as Warrock. The two play off one another well, as Omega-xis tends to be a foil to Geo, pushing him out of his comfort zone here and there, while Geo being able to rein in Omega-xis from getting too rowdy. They're a perfect blend of introvert and extrovert. The dynamic works perfectly for the setting of the story. Of course, this wouldn't be a Mega Man game without some Mega Man. The two here are able to fuse through the power of electromagnetic alien sci-fi magic. And the result is the Blue Bomber himself, Mega Man, a hero who rides the EM waves. First and foremost, let me address the biggest elephant in the room here. These characters, and series as a whole frankly, were looked down upon on release, due to the plot. I remember seeing forum post after post about how being aliens and doing a Power Ranger-like motif was lame and I quote, not my Mega Man. Though, funny enough, aliens have always been in Mega Man, all the way back to Mega Man 3 with Shadow Man, shockingly enough. Battle Network even set the stage for alien technology to be out and about with Duo. Even the Power Ranger-like fusion wasn't unheard of, as the Battle Network anime had their own kind of same thing going with cross-fusion. So while some might have found this to be a weird concept, it actually wasn't anything completely unheard of. In the town of Echo Ridge, Geo doesn't start off a hero, or someone with a fighting spirit. Unlike Lan, who rushed in at frame 1 of Battle Network to take on the World 3, Geo was introduced to us in a state of depression. Geo lost his dad in a space-related accident 3 years prior to the game. Losing his dad shattered him, and as a means to cope, Geo detached from, well, everything. He doesn't want to be around people, as he himself describes. He's afraid of getting close to someone and having that feeling ripped away from him again. He often goes to the park Vista Point and just looks and gazes at the stars. It's the only way to feel close to his dad, and fill that void that's in him. This place of comfort is what ultimately leads to him meeting Omega-xis. And while Geo is quiet and reserved, Omega-xis is, well, proud and loud. He's an alien being that looks like a wolf, and has a body made up of electromagnetic waves. While unknown for the bulk of the first game, he comes from the faraway Planet AM, but was raised on Planet FM after it attacked and destroyed Planet AM. Omega-xis takes charge with assertion left and right, and acts on impulses without a second thought, taking over Geo's arm to make him just knock someone out cold, making Geo's transer move on its own to drag Geo to places. When Omega-xis wants to go do a thing, by golly, he's gonna go do the thing. This assertion, though, is just what the doctor ordered for Geo. Omega-xis finds a way to break Geo out of his shell, gets him out and doing things rather than just sitting in his room all day or walking and sitting on a hill. It might also help that Omega-xis claims to know Geo's dad, and is withholding information from Geo until he shows him what Earth is like. While under the guise of wanting to know human life, Omega-xis does this knowing full well that Geo is suffering and is working to help him out. Through these escapades, the two bond. Aside from, fighting off foes and viruses, Geo and Omega-xis do truly become friends, even if they don't realize it at the time. Frankly, I'd argue the bond between them becomes more like that of brothers. Omega-xis stepping in and being the big brother positive male role model for Geo, Well, I guess positive is questionable. Omega-Sis may not be a good role model, but he sure is a rad one. This dynamic allows for both of them to grow as characters. Throughout the series, we see Geo becoming more of a happy character, and not just through dialogue. Just look at his mugshots from the games. He's outwardly showing how he's improving. Omega-Sis' constant pressure to get Geo engaged in healthy habits is a major factor in Geo's overall mental health. Meanwhile, Geo's empathy and moral outlook influence Omega-Sis to open up his emotions and become, well, more human. Growing together only makes them stronger in the end, as them understanding one another allows them to act more fluid in combat, when they transform into the hero, Megaman. By finding a host, an EM being confused with a human under the correct conditions. This is exactly what happens to Geo and Omega-Sis, finding a spot where wave data is causing a distortion, known as a wave hole. Later on, wave machines are placed throughout the world, allowing wave change at any time. Omega-Sis charges up a battle card and Geo swipes it, causing the two to become a human-EM hybrid. This new form takes elements from Omega-Sis, such as his chest armor and the pattern on his head, as well as his face becoming a buster. In Starforce 3, the design was updated, with the Omega-Sis head being replaced with a normal arm that subtly looks like a face. While fused, being the two of them are an EM body, they're invisible to the naked eye. Now, Geo can rive the wave world and enter cyberspaces, such as computers or even other wave scanners. This form is how the two do battle with other EM beings, such as viruses or, other aliens. During the third game, their transformation is registered with the Satella Police, a large police force that works with wave-related incidents. Once registered, Geo was given the transcode 003. Throughout the games, the duo take on all sorts of challenges, from stopping alien invasions to traveling to parallel universals and thwarting multiversal takeovers. The two have done it all. In relatively short time at that. They're not alone though. The theme of Starforce is connections, and is home of the system that is very similar to SoulNet from Battle Network 5, the Brother Band. Oftentimes, it's joked as being nothing more than Facebook friends with others, but this system is vital to the world and how people view one another. Linking with others, known as becoming brothers, is a big deal. You have to open yourself up to them, which is where Geo comes in. After the issues with his dad, he never opened up to anyone else. He feared getting close to someone would cause him to feel that hurt again. It's not until he meets Sonya Strom, also known as Harpnote, that his world begins to change. Geo now really begins a new journey of self-improvement. Sonya shares similar issues to Geo, having lost her mom and not being able to properly grieve, as she's essentially forced into the spotlight of being a pop star by, this jerk. While surrounded by others, Sonya feels alone. The similar life experiences is what really shows Geo that he isn't alone, and gets him to finally open up and form a brother band with Sonya. And yeah, the term doesn't change to sisters, so whatever I guess. I didn't write the games. Now that his shell's been cracked, Geo takes to brothering with others such as Luna, Bud, and Zack. Even though every time these three show up and you hang your head, his little squad is able to perk Geo up and pull him out of the depression he's in. These friendships, though, are not without struggles. There are times when Geo and Omega-Sis get in the fights and split up, or times when brother bands are severed. Big moments drop when betrayal is afoot, and it causes our hero to heavily reconsider his choices, hence the severing of bands. These trials are always overcome with support of others, and Mega Man grows stronger with each and every bond. There's even some romantic interest in his bonds. Sonya and Luna both have crushes on our boy, with Sonya being bold enough to ask Geo to go out on dates with her. She's always in support of our guy. Even when him and Omega-Sis split up, she knows they can work through it, and sets off to find Omega-Sis when Geo refuses to do a thing. Come on, Geo! She's head over heels for you, saves your butt all the time, sacrificed everything to keep you safe, and respects and realizes the importance of your broships. Marry her! Sorry, Luna fans, I'm on the Geo Sonya train. You can even choose which character you want to ship with Geo in a certain cutscene. But let's be real, we all know bromancing up with Bud is the way to go. Sometimes though, Geo's bonds are not for the better. Solo is a character who Geo eventually comes to understand as a person. The two share a bond of rivalry, as each are living embodiments of what they stand against. Solo, as his name implies, is alone and proving that friendships are a weakness. And Geo, standing for connections and loving one another. These two clash continuously, and from all we've seen, they always will. Destined rivals for life. Pat is another bond that greatly affected Geo. When Geo was visiting the school, he bumped into Pat and the two kinda hit it off. From there, they grew close as friends, and Geo actually initiated wanting to form a brother band with Pat. Even though Pat wanted to, he couldn't trust anyone given his past, and after agreeing to brother with Geo, he betrayed and attacked him. This bond left Geo in a dark place for a while, and deeply shook his outlook of the world. The anime takes a different path for our heroes. It has been only 3 weeks since Geo's dad disappeared, though he's still understandably down in the dumps. Once again, Omega-xis finds Geo and helps to get out. The two do battle against all the same Ephemians from the first game, but also square off against viruses, saving civilians often and being seen as a hero. He even has fans that dress like him. Cancer Bubble is by far the best character in the anime. There's plenty of fun moments throughout the anime, such as watching Omega-xis have to eat battle cards when Geo uses them, but we also get to see Geo's combat a bit more fluidly, such as actually riding, or I guess surfing, the wave world. There is a lot more emphasis on some friendships that Geo has here, such as really being besties with Pat Spriggs, and teaming up with Harpnote nearly every battle. While Megaman is our main character, I'd actually argue that the anime focuses more on other characters and making them stand out than our Blue Bomber. The manga has an entirely different approach to our heroes. With the initial premise of the story still being there, liberties were taken with the characters. Omega-xis, rather than being the mature, curious, and wise person he's known to be, is now a gross and crass individual. He's a slob who's obsessed with eating, including his own boogers. Ugh. It's not my Omega-xis. Geo, on the other hand, fights the bulk of his depression off in a single chapter, then develops a fondness for battle. He's shown enjoying fights and is eager to throw down. Again, not my Geo. He develops his fondness while duking it out with Gemini Spark, who plays a major role in the series. Being a friend to Geo and characters like Sonia and Luna are pretty much non-existent. The manga is pretty rushed and primarily focused on combat, but in a few instances, we get to see that Geo is quick-witted, pulling out-of-the-box strategies to achieve his goals. He also briefly trains with Crown Thunder, to learn a technique only in the manga, tuning. Learning how to tune increases one's speed tremendously. The full breakdown of what these two characters can do is pretty impressive. First, taking a look at Geo, he's just a human, a normal 14-year-old boy who can outrun a truck? Yeah, apparently he can do that. Outside of that, Geo doesn't display a whole lot of outstanding feats. For the most part, he either uses Navi cards or matter waves. As the series progresses though, he does display a level of courage that is unrivaled. He also has an uncanny nature of being able to understand people and form strong bonds with them. This actually serves as a rather important source of his power down the line when he becomes Megaman. The brother bands Geo forms throughout the games power him up, much like how Lan and Megaman powered up when they activated their Hub.Bat program. When drained, or needing some extra oomph in his buster, Geo was able to draw on the power of his friend to help propel him through whatever trial awaits him. Warrock, Omega-xis, sorry, I prefer the name Warrock for him, is a powerful EM warrior who takes his challenges head on We see he's able to slap foes silly with his big meaty claws, and his copies can shoot blasts from their mouths, so I assume he can do that too. There's a few battle cards of him that either allow him to slap foes, or actually remove part of the battlefield. I can only assume that these cards are ones he powers up himself, otherwise it wouldn't really make sense for them to be in circulation. He's an alien unknown to the public until late in the story, and even then, I wouldn't say he's super popular. He would though. As Megaman, the two gain all new abilities. First and foremost, much like Omega-xis, they can walk on waves and enter computer spaces. Being an EM body now, this also means they're invisible to the naked eye. The wolf head on this design is the Mega Buster, and, like the other blue bombers, it can fire out shots, either small weaker ones, or a charged up power shot. Geo can even find upgrades to the Buster. Battle cards, though, those are the real deal. Megaman is able to make use of them, much like EXE could utilize battle chips. In the anime, there's unique abilities found: phasing and teleportation. Megaman has a shield he can summon at any time to repel attacks. It's not foolproof, but it's able to protect our guy from some very powerful moves. With his visualizer now transformed, he can lock onto enemies and follow them for a swift strike. This is known as the Mega Attack. It is the most commonly used skill in Mega Man's toolkit. Of course, this wouldn't be a Mega Man RPG series without transformations. Each game progressively goes harder with what they offer for the choices and preferences. The first is the Starforce. There are 3 transformations here based on the satellite admins, Leo, Dragon, and Pegasus. These offer the least amount of support to Mega Man, changing his charge shot and allowing for more battle card selection, and each having their own super move. The next game, though, brought us another set of 3, but now they felt more like a soul from Battle Network. The Tribon, taking the form of Ninja, Berserker, and Sarian. Atop doing what the Starforce already does, each offered elemental chip bonuses, extra abilities, and they could stack. Now each form could combine with one another to get properties from both forms. Of course, all these together made the ultimate form and powerhouse the Tribe King. It's super OP. Lastly, we have the noises. There are 13 noises overall, 10 basic ones, 2 ultimate, and one that the devs consider an ultimate, but I mean that's kind of a stretch. Basic noises are kind of like the tribes. They can stack, though you can only have the abilities of 2 at a time. They're based on the other FMians, which makes for a fun callback to those old bosses. Nothing like taking the form of your favorite characters. Rogue is a special one you can get if you have no friends. Which, yeah, that was me. I was the no friends kid back in the day, so, Rogue noise it was for me. Acid Ace and Dread Joker, 2 newcomers to the 3rd game, are the characters of the ultimate forms, known as the Finalized Noise. They're powerful and flashy. It's a shame we never did get a Starforce 4. There was some info dropped about it from its initial concept phase. Geo would be working with a descendant of Lands, and surprisingly enough, would be on the run from the Satella police. It's unknown what he would have done to be wanted, but the concept sounds like a blast. The game was also going to be aimed at teens, with more mature themes. Geo was also going to be aged up a bit. I personally would have loved to have seen what Warrock would have been like on the run. I mean, he's practically already an outlaw. Now Geo's just stepping into his territory. And well, you've made it to the end. There's a lot on the hero of Echo Ridge, from powers to plot. While Starforce remains one of the unappreciated series, I have to admit that this is the home of my personal favorite Blue Bomber. There is a lot of things I find relatable to Geo and Omega-xis, and I find that watching them actually grow is one of the more rewarding moments in the franchise. What do you think of our radio wave writing, guys? Let me know below. And if you want to see me on air more, drop a sub or a like. I guess that helps the YouTube algorithm and stuff. Till next time, ride on!
上げる空ば心に積もる願いの色描く